What's up, people? Welcome to another exciting edition of the Black and Gold Hour podcast. This actually is the first podcast of the year, man. I had to take a break, but this is the best time to come back because this is the NFL offseason, and this is where journalists, this is where people like myself and the guy I have on screen, this is when we flourish and we really invest time in the fans and really figure out what's going on with the team. And the New Orleans Saints have a lot going on. And we kind of been talking about it the last 5 years or so that we are just a couple of pieces away. And right now, this offseason, I see fans and high hopes, and I see some beginning to panic. And I think it's, fair reason for both sides. So to help me kind of talk about the New Orleans Saints, I got my guy. This is one of my good friends. We talk weekly. We talk about the New Orleans Saints, and we also talk about life. I got my guy, journalist, content creator of the Michael Balko Show. I have Mr. Michael Balko himself. How you doing, bro?
Man, oh man, it is so good to be back, running it up with my boy Merv, and let's run it. Let's talk about it.
Bro, I'm happy to have you back, man. I thought about I took a little hiatus, school, work, and just grinding. And I was like, who do I want to have come on the show with me as I start the year? And I got to think about my boy, man. We put in so much work together, man. And I can't wait to see what we do this season. It's a lot to talk about. And we're going to start with the biggest news of the offseason for the New Orleans Saints. We're going to talk about Coach Sean Payton and his departure, man. Some saw it coming. You may have saw it coming, and I feel like it happened and it was time for new things, at least for Sean Payton. So I got to ask you first and foremost, what was your reaction to the Sean Payton departure?
Man, pretty happy. I'm not going to lie to you. I felt like there were a lot of times, especially in the past 2 years, where we were either A, holding on to players for way too much longer than we should have, and B, just overly aggressive play calling, I feel like. And that's just one thing Sean Payton just kind of always did. And I'm excited because I haven't seen the Saints ever be this aggressive in an offseason before. And it was crazy. We were right there in the mix for Deshaun Watson. We've been linked to Jarvis Landry and to the Honey Badger and bringing in right now we're completely culture centered. And it's exactly what the city of New Orleans needs. It's exactly what the Saints need. So I am very excited about the departure of Sean Payton. Obviously, Sean Payton was great for the city of New Orleans. He was around us forever, and he got us that Lombardi. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you can't hate the guy. But, I mean, a few years back, a lot of controversy over my article about why Sean Payton ain't that anymore. And now that it's out here, people are like, oh, maybe Balko knows what's up. So
yeah, I mean, and we talked about this, me and you, and when you wrote the article, I kind of began to think to myself, and we saw Drew Brees retire. I thought, all good things must come to an end. So I'm kind of split between fans where I was like, man, Sean Payton has done so much for the city, but I also, feel like, hey, time to switch it up. I mean, as Saints fans, I would get frustrated myself when I would see, everybody knows we're going to run that screen on third down with Alvin Kamara. Sometimes you just got to switch it up and embrace a new era. And we know what Sean Payton has done, but the New Orleans Saints have a core that is intact. And we're going to kind of talk about that core. But they also got to make steps towards the future because, honestly, although this core is talented, we have yet to hoist that Lombardi in the 5 seasons that we have been one of the elite teams in the NFC. So, bro, I gotta ask you, man, Dennis Allen. Let's talk about it. Dennis Allen was promoted. They had Eric Bieniemy. We had a couple of coaches being Doug Peterson being talked about with the New Orleans Saints, man. I gotta ask you, how do you feel about the Dennis Allen promotion to head coach?
Personally, I would have preferred either Eric Bieniemy or Brian Flores. That was kind of where I wanted to go. I think just somebody outside of the Saints would have been maybe a better option in terms of bringing in free agents and being able to lure people because you have connections outside of just the Saints. But in hindsight, I love it because we were able to retain Dennis Allen because we wouldn't have been able to otherwise. There's no way he stays around as a defensive coordinator after having an opportunity to be the head coach. There's just no way. So that's good. We retain one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL. as well as getting a chance to promote guys. Chris Richard's now a defensive coordinator with us, and be able to make select coaching hires and just kind of enter a new era without necessarily having to change the culture. Because Dennis Allen's been a part of that. He knows exactly how to he learned a lot from Sean Payton on how to maneuver our cap to make it work. And that's exactly what he did, man. He straight up, he got Michael Thomas to say yes, Alvin Kamara to say yes. He got Marshawn Lattimore, Cam Jordan, bro. Everybody on the team is just like, yeah, man, I'll restructure. Yeah, man, no problem. Let's bring in some people and let's run this back. And I think we have a better shot at contending for a Super Bowl than we did with Sean Payton the past few years. And it's just because you're going to see a bunch of stuff that we haven't seen before. And he also made one of the most underrated coaching hires in Doug Marrone as our offensive line coach. It's a very underrated hire that no one's talking enough about.
Right.
And I'm excited for that because our O-line struggled a little bit last year, and losing Tehran Armstead is going to make it a little bit worse. But also, there's this offensive line talent in this draft is insane this year. So,
right, bro. And let's kind of run it back to my philosophy. And I got to point out my guy, Lee Goods, for showing love. Appreciate you for, coming on, commenting, showing love, bro. Trequan Smith, you've had enough. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about Trequan Smith and this New Orleans Saints wide receiver group. And I hear you saying, Elite Goods, that you're glad we stayed within. This is my thing about staying within. Let's say you're an organization, and this is the illustration I've been using. Let's say you're an organization and you're hiring two different candidates. You already excel in one area, and you have a candidate that fits that. But you're lacking success and efficiency in another area. And you have another candidate that is proficient in what you lack. I think the Saints are lacking offense, and they've been lacking offense even when Jameis was on the field the last couple of seasons. And maybe you could say that's due to Michael Thomas being out. But other than that, the production outside of MT and AK has been very limited, if not non-existent. So I think you go as a management group and as a team, you go for a coach that has vision for what you lack, not what you already have success in. And I think Dennis Allen was doing a great job as defensive coordinator. And I honestly understand why he would be promoted. Like Dennis Allen has been doing a sensational job with the New Orleans Saints defensive side of the football. But I think Eric Bieniemy just brings a different seasoning to the team. And with the free agents that are coming out and signing with teams, I think he would have been a great draw for those players. And I don't know. I'm kind of on edge. I'm not a big fan of the Dennis Allen promotion, but I understand that the Saints have had success. But my thing is the Saints have had success, but they've won a lot of regular season games. But where are those postseason wins we're looking for? And I think a change of culture is what we're looking for, man. But I got to ask you about last weekend, man. I was in Florida with the family. I was at an Orlando Magic game. Don't ask me why. I was at an Orlando Magic basketball game. And I'm on my phone, bro, and I get a tweet that says Tom Brady is back. So I hear that, and I'm like, Tom Brady is back in the division. What is going on? I'm thinking we got the division in the bag. No matter who the quarterback is, I think we got the division in the bag. We're hearing talks about Deshaun Watson. We're hearing talks about the New Orleans Saints, and the talk is beginning to grow. Man, let me ask you, how did you feel about the Deshaun Watson, I don't know, news with the New Orleans Saints? How did you feel about it? Were you a fan, not a fan? How do you feel?
I feel like Deshaun Watson is the quarterback New Orleans needed, I also love that we retained Jameis. I know we're probably going to talk about that, but in strictly terms of Deshaun Watson, I think you get a top 5 quarterback right away. Obviously, the allegations, whatever. No, you know what? Whatever. Pending discipline from the league, that's probably kind of one of the factors that maybe made him not end up with the Saints, even though I don't really think it did. I think he just chose the Browns, which is terrible for him, by the way. So RIP to his career. But I did love all the Deshaun Watson talks for sure, because it's just exactly kind of what I said earlier. It's just it proves that the Saints are aggressive and we're going to be going after guys regardless of what our cap looks like. And I really wanted him just so the cap ninjas out there could just be like, yo, what you talking about? What, right. How could you afford him? It's just because, Dennis Allen, man, right. The little Dennis Allen flavor. Right. But I feel like maybe if we had like a Bieniemy or somebody like that, he probably would be with us, because I mean, you have to look at it from Deshaun's standpoint. It's exactly what you just talked about. Like, he's a defensive head coach. Like, what can you really offer me, that's gonna put me any, like, advance my career, aside besides just the fact that we have Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, and who even knows what's going to end up happening with Alvin Kamara, depending on his arrest and things like that, and what's going to end up happening with that. And even Michael Thomas, if we don't have a good year, who's to say Michael Thomas will be in good spirits a year from now? So it really just kind of depends. But I think that's probably what he was looking at. And yeah, especially kind of going back on the Michael Thomas thing, especially with the way the wide receiver market's at right now, like, he could very well just say, I'm just going to not play and just get me a brand new deal. And if he has a good year this year, we may not have Michael Thomas the year after. I'll put it to you that way. And so that could be what Deshaun Watson was looking at. And Deshaun, I mean, the Browns, they have a young, a nice team. They got a good running back. They have no receivers yet, but they have the pieces to be good, and they have a good defense, and Cleveland's a cool place. So yeah, I think it was cool being in those talks, but I'm also very, very happy that we got Jameis at the price we got Jameis for.
Right, bro. I'm going to say this about the Watson situation. As a Saints fan, and I know there's differing opinions on this, and I'll keep it strictly football, just for the show. I'm happy the Saints I'm happy my team was in the news being aggressive. And I tweeted about this like 2 hours ago. You hear about the Rams, you hear about the Bucks, and you hear how aggressive they are. They know they're in win now mode. And I think the New Orleans Saints need to realize that they are in win now mode. Like, if the window isn't closed, it's like barely open right now. So you got a Cam Jordan who's aging. You got players that you can't afford. We just lost Marcus Williams and Tehran Armstead. The Saints have to be in win now mode. And I thought to myself, man, they're going after Deshaun Watson, bro. Like, they're aggressive, man. They were making cap. They cleared cap space. We saw the talking heads on Twitter just baffled at what the New Orleans Saints were doing. And then we hear about the Atlanta Falcons, and I think that's when I kind of gave up. I was like, you know what? It's something about the New Orleans Saints. We cannot close the deal. And we'll talk about that later on in the show, man. But I got to ask you, and I'm seeing my guy Elite Goods, hashtag Team Winston. And I was a Team Winston fan. I had no aspirations. I thought about Russell Wilson when he signed with Denver. I was like, well, hey, we're going to go with Winston. He played well. I think the New Orleans Saints were 5-2 before he got injured. So let me ask you, how do you feel about Winston?
Love it. Absolutely love it. I'm a big Winston advocate as well. Because, I mean, I was a Florida State fan, like, I always used to watch Florida State growing up. And so I saw Winston in his prime, stealing crab legs and all. It was great. Right. And now he's with it. And when he signed with the Saints a few years back, I was like, let's go. We got a good backup to learn from Drew. If anything happens to Drew, Jameis is going to step right up. And I love it even more because that means we don't have to wonder, which is also nice about Sean Payton being honest. We don't have to wonder who the starting quarterback is going to be. It's Jameis Winston. It's not Taysom Hill. It's not anybody else. It is that boy Jabo Wins. And he's just gonna dove his way in the dome all year, baby. But no, in all seriousness, it's great. And you could tell he took a little bit of a discount to stay with us as well, because I mean, the Colts are a team that definitely could have given him probably whatever he wanted. You know what I mean? And we got him for 2 years, I think like 28 million, something like that. So that's a steal. I mean, you got receivers being paid more than that right now.
Right.
And it's just insane that he even took that deal, because I mean, he was good. He was really good last year. And I mean, maybe the ACL injury kind of helped us out a little bit and just saying, hey, like, you're not going to get 60 million bucks, but here's 28 for 2 years and show us what you can do. And it's nice because it kind of, a 2-year deal allows us to be in contention for a guy like Malik Willis as well, or Kenny Pickett as well, and still be able to draft that young guy and learn under a very capable quarterback in Jameis Winston. And because, I mean, we all know Ian Book ain't it, Chief. Like, it's just not happening. So
he's a development work in progress.
Yeah. He's like a highway that never gets done, Like, it's just not happening, bro. But I think that it kind of allows us the opportunity to still draft that young, polarizing guy and then just kind of see where we're at in a couple years. And if it could very well be like a Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance situation where it's like, yeah, Jameis is still good, but maybe if he gets injured again next year and Kenny Pickett balls out, or if Malik Willis balls out, or Matt Corral balls out, then you got a decision to make. Then you could trade Jameis for assets and you get right back in that Super Bowl contention like you're just talking about. And so it's nice. I would like the contract to be probably like 3 years. I would have preferred like a 3-year deal, because then it's really like, it's not just 2 years, then it's really like, okay, you have Jameis for 1 more year, it's easier for trade talks. But I think Jameis is going to be more than fine. I think he's going to stay healthy. I think he's going to go out there. He's going to ball out. He's going to put his name in MVP contention like he did in the early going of the season. I mean, he had the NFL's best touchdown to interception ratio until his injury. And I'm super stoked for it. I think I loved what he was doing because he was like refusing to get sacked. Like the offensive line, he probably saved the O-line from being like a less than top 10 unit. Right. Just by him just maneuvering the pocket, shedding tackles, like shedding easy sacks, just by extending the play, even if it's just to throw the ball away. He's helping the team and doing literally everything he possibly could. And he was just getting in his rhythm right when he got injured too. And that was the devastating part. But man, I mean, he had us at a 5-2 record. We beat the Green Bay Packers. We beat some good teams while he was under center. And I'm stoked. I'm stoked to see him get to play the Bucs twice and serve Tom Brady some L's, because he just for coming back. So
yeah, man. And I like Jameis too, man. I like his leadership. We've been watching his workout videos all for like the last 2 months, and we just see the recovery. We see the grind. He's wearing his Saints gear while he's working out. That's also a sign that he's with the team, man. What's up, my guy Rudy? Man, I appreciate you for coming on, bro, and adding to the comment stream. But yeah, man, Jameis, man, I'm excited to see what he does, and he was able to do it with the limited talent on the roster. So now it's just time for us to get some talent, and we'll wrap the show up with the talent and the free agents available for the New Orleans Saints. But I heard you mention Tom Brady, and we got to talk about Tom Brady. This guy, I mean, look, he plays for the Bucs, but I'm a big fan of his love for the game. I don't think there's ever been another person in sports who just has a love for the game like this. This is crazy. Like, he's gonna miss his kid's entire life because like he loves the game of football, man, and you can only respect that. And he and the Bucs, they're gonna do all they can to make sure that if this is his final year, that they do everything they can to put him in the best possible position to win. So let me ask you about the Bucs. They lost Antonio Brown. Offensive lineman Jensen has retired. It felt like we had this division under wraps, but now how do you feel? Like, do you think the Bucs still pose a threat, or have they lost too many pieces? Are they still the most formidable team in the NFC South?
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. So you ever like sit in your bed at like 2 a.m. and you can't sleep, and it's just because like you're just sitting there and you're wondering like the random stuff ever, bro. And it's just like something stupid. Like, I wonder if I would like be able to watch my funeral one day and see how people react. That's like kind of how I look at like Tom Brady coming back into the NFL. He was just like, he got all this love all over social media, man, did this whole announcement for clicks. And then he came back. He knew the whole damn time he was coming back, bro.
Right.
It was not even. No, his message was crap. Anyways, we're going to serve him some L's this year. I love the fact that Tom Brady came back because, I mean, we get to just keep doing our thing against him. You feel me? Like, if anybody's had Tom Brady's number, it's the Saints. Come on now. But in all seriousness, no. As long as Tom Brady's in Tampa Bay, they obviously always have a shot. Any team that has Tom Brady has a shot at the Super Bowl, regardless of how the roster looks. I mean, we've seen him do far more with far less in New England. And I mean, they just got Fournette back. They still have Ronald Jones, I believe. They still have some weapons out there. Mike Evans, they re-signed Chris Godwin. So they still have dudes. So that's not really even a concern, really, in my eyes. I mean, they still have plenty of weapons. Antonio Brown's more drama than he is anything else.
Right.
So I don't really think they're missing out with too much in terms of that. But yeah, obviously, I think the Bucs will probably take the division, in all honesty. But I definitely see us being a wild card team, and I could see us definitely posing a threat to the Bucs in the postseason. And yeah, I mean, and who knows? I mean, Jameis could really just go off this year. And
Right.
I mean, we're still in our second wave of free agency here. So I mean, there's still tons of receivers on the board. All the Saints really need is like someone to complement Mike, and we're good. Like we need somebody to complement Mike, and we maybe need another like tight end or and some O-line depth, really. But other than that, like we're fine. You know what I mean? We have a top 5 defense. We have a top 10 quarterback. We got a top, probably I'll say top 10 receiver in Michael Thomas. We just need we just need like the other pieces. You know what I mean? Like we got Alvin Kamara. We got everything else we need. We just need like the final touches. And if the Saints could just like whip out the checkbook real quick and just like cash a couple checks real fast, that'd be greatly appreciated. But yeah, I think until otherwise, because as soon as we get done uploading this and everything, bro, something's gonna happen, and we're gonna have to run it back like next week.
Mm-hmm.
But until otherwise, I think the Bucks take it, and that's just as a Saint, lifelong diehard Saints fan. I know the comments are probably going crazy, but I'm telling you, I'm fighting a cold. By the way, y'all, I'm grinding this out for Merv.
Dedication, bro.
Dedication, absolutely dedication right now. But anyways, I think the Bucks take it until we make a couple more splashes in the dapple in the free agent market a little bit. But
yeah, man. And this is my thing about the Bucks. Like they put the team in position to be successful, and we're about to talk about it. We're about to talk about the New Orleans Saints in free agency outside of the Deshaun Watson kind of aggressive behavior by the New Orleans Saints. They really haven't been that aggressive, at least from the fans' point of view. Now, behind the scenes, they might be on the phone all day. We just saw about 2 hours ago, Marquez Scantling just signed with the Kansas City Chiefs 3-year deal. It seemed like New Orleans was the way he was going to go, but then reports came out and said Kansas City at the last minute came in and swooped him from us. And that's a story that we commonly hear with the New Orleans Saints. And the Saints had the cap space due to all the movement and shuffling around they had to do to try to pursue Deshaun Watson. And my question is, like, we already know the biggest offensive need is wide receiver. And it's just like, I don't understand. I think the New Orleans Saints think their core is so strong that they are in the driver's seat when it comes to free agency. Like, hey, people should want to come play for us. But honestly, in my opinion, I believe that the New Orleans Saints don't realize that the window is very closed for this unit. Like the defensive players are not getting any younger. They're not getting any cheaper. And I personally believe that the New Orleans Saints need to go all in, pull a Rams, and just try to get as many people as you can. Now, the Rams are a different team with everybody wants to play in LA. And in the Bucks, everybody wants to play with Tom Brady. But I do think the New Orleans Saints need to have a level of aggression for these free agent wide receivers that are left. And I want to ask you, we got OBJ, we got Jarvis Landry. Like, who was somebody on your radar that the New Orleans Saints need to grab?
both of those guys, bro. Both of those guys. Let the brothers run it up out here. But I would love to get Jarvis Landry. I think he's like, I would love Odell too, obviously. Who wouldn't love Odell? But I think if I had to pick one of those guys, like if I can get one, I'm taking Jarvis because I mean, we saw his leadership, especially in Hard Knocks when the Browns were featured. And that is exactly what we need in our locker room. Like, we don't have, like, if you look at the Saints, since Drew Brees has left, at least, we don't have that locker room guy on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, excluding Jameis probably, but like, we don't have that guy on the offensive side of the ball that's like holding dudes accountable. Like, I mean, we have Jameis to a certain extent, but like, it's all like the defensive side. Like, that's DeMario's role. That's Cam's role. That's, everybody else on like the defense, Malcolm's role. Like, that's not really anybody on the offense's role. And we need that guy. Like, since Drew Brees left, like, you could tell the locker room's a little bit whack, and we need a guy in our receiver room, especially with Mr. Diva, Michael Thomas, to just humble him real quick. You know what I mean? Like, and, just getting a guy from New Orleans and getting him in New Orleans to play for the Saints, it's just, he's going to try harder. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean, he's in the NFL. You can make the argument that he's always tried, obviously it's your job. You're going to try hard at your job, but like, it just hits different when you're in your hometown, like it just does. It's plain as simple as that. So getting him in New Orleans with the culture that we have going right now would be immaculate. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. Like, if I have one dream free agent, it's Jarvis Landry, and he's going to sign with us this week. I'm telling you, bro, it's going to happen. Like, it's going to happen. We just got to speak it into existence. I'm not
Right.
seeing him like going anywhere else. I don't see him looking at other teams. Like the news around Jarvis has been very quiet. And like the only thing I've really kind of seen is New Orleans. And so I'm just hoping that we just put the stamp on it, get him in New Orleans. If we don't sign anybody else and we get Jarvis Landry, I'm a happy man. And I think I remember the stat. He was part of that like 2015 receiving class, and he has more catches than any of those dudes combined, or not combined, but like he has more catches than all of those other guys that had like Mike Evans, and I don't remember who else, but it had like a lot of big names in that 2015 receiving class, and he has more catches than all of them, and that's with like 2 or 3 down years in Cleveland. So there's no doubt that Jarvis is still a top 15 receiver whenever he's playing well.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love, 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 love to have Jarvis Landry in our team. And right now, I mean, we might have to pay up for him a little bit, but like it'd still be like less expensive than what we were going to settle with in Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I think. And right now the vibe is just kind of dudes taking discounts, you know. So I would obviously love to get him. I was a big fan of DJ Chark. Obviously, he's not going to sign with us now. He's off the market, but um, just guys like that. I've really just like I'm intrigued with the culture that New Orleans is building, and they're trying to build a culture that's more oriented around bringing in dudes from New Orleans, and it's great because that's literally exactly what we need. Like I just said, like it just hits harder when you're in your hometown, and that's why I think Kwon's going to get re-signed, and that's why I think we could be looking to bring in either Odell or Jarvis, if not both.
Right, bro. And I want to go back to the leadership because like 30 minutes ago, I seen like a tweet, and it was from Jeff Duncan, and you know how close he is with the New Orleans Saints and the staff, and how intertwined he is with what's going on in the organization. And with the Tehran Armstead signing in Miami, when I thought about Tehran Armstead, I sat back and just thought of it from on the field perspective. And we know he's one of the best left tackles in the game. But my problem was he couldn't stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
If your best ability is availability, is what they say. So if he's not always on the field, if he's giving you, and I know he's going through a lot, he's a tough player, gritting out some of the worst injuries, especially for an offensive lineman. But he just, the production isn't always there because he's not always on the field. And I was like, well, if he goes to Miami, hey, like we'll make something happen. But then I thought he was the last bit of leadership that we had on that offensive side of the ball. He was a guy that was getting the offensive line together. He was kind of that voice, that big guy in the room when it came to the offense after Breeze left. And we're seriously gonna miss that, man. And I don't know where they find it on the offensive end. I'm sure Jameis will step in and do what he can. I think Jameis has one of those infectious personalities. I always say that where, you see Jameis in a good mood, you're gonna want to be in a good mood. You see Jameis never puts his head down. His head is always up, and that's what we've seen, at least with him in the New Orleans Saints uniform. But I got to talk about a player that we're seeing in the comments. News came out that he will be re-signed. It seems like he was wavering between the Saints and even Atlanta. No comment. Trequan Smith, man, he is a great blocking wide receiver, but his production hasn't been where it needs to be. I got to ask you, and I've kind of stated my opinion time and time again. I got to ask you, what's your opinion on the wide receiver 3rd-round pick out of UCF, Trequan Smith? What's your opinion on it?
I'm kind of surprised he wants to come back after Jameis ripped him a new one on national TV that one time. But man,
Look,
nah. But in all seriousness, though, he really is. He's one of our most physical receivers. And I mean, if you add, we're gonna add a receiver. I mean, we have to, right? I mean, at some point, either in the draft, if not free agency, the draft, right? I mean, we have to, right? Like, you know what I mean? But if we don't, like, we're just whatever. I threw the season in the trash. But if we get like a Jarvis Landry or an Odell or someone to complement Michael Thomas, I would take Trequan as my number 3 any day of the week. And honestly, he's probably not even our number 3. He's probably our number 4 behind Callaway. Right. In all honesty, I think Callaway did much more to establish himself as the 3 than the 4. So I think Callaway is definitely the 3, and I would take a physical Trequan Smith to come in on running plays any day of the week because, I mean, the dude's tough. Yeah, I mean, his route running is like next to like garbage, but I mean, he catches what he wants to, I feel like. He makes the most impossible catches, but can't catch the easy ones, I feel like. But with that being said, dude making catches with his helmet flying off. He's getting hit by 3 dudes, still catching it over the middle. Like, I'll take that kind of physicality any day. And he's one of the most competitive run blockers that we have. It kind of reminds me a lot of Krishan Hogan. Shout out.
But,
He literally hooked me up with this hoodie a while back. I always wear it on your show, I feel like. But but like Krishan was really good at run blocking. And I kind of feel like that's the role Trequan could pick up on, is just literally being the guy that comes in on run blocking plays and being that wide receiver depth. He already knows the playbook. He knows the culture. Keeping I feel like keeping guys right now is more important than like going out and changing up your whole roster. Like the Browns are going to go and they're going to change their whole roster, and they'll probably finish 7-9 or 7-10, whatever it is now this season.
mm-hmm.
And they'll feel like it's a disappointment and the things will just spiral downwards. We don't want that. We want to like keep guys if we can. Like PJ, I really want PJ Williams to come back because he's just a good rotational depth player. And things like that. It's just like, I want him back because he knows us. Like he knows what we're expecting of him, and bring him back on a 1-year prove it deal. And if he's still the same Trequan, then he's gone. You know, give him one more shot. I mean, we give Austin Carr a million chances. We give Tommy Lee Lewis a million chances. Give Trequan one more shot. I mean, his physicality makes up for everything else. And I think with a full offseason, knowing Jameis is the quarterback, I think it'll help out a lot. And then, I mean, he could be one of those leaders in that receiving room, because right now we don't really have it. So it's just guys with experience just kind of get deemed with the leadership tag. And that could be something that separates Trequan, give him that opportunity to separate himself, prove he can be a leader, and to see if he can continue his career beyond next season in New Orleans.
Right, man. And he's one of those players that was a Sean Payton favorite, kind of like Josh Hill. If you can block, you're gonna have a spot on the New Orleans Saints. If you can run block, you're gonna have a spot. And I think he serves a role, not the role that he's being placed in, though. He's being placed in a role where he has to produce, and I don't think that's him. I think he can give you some catches. I think he's more like a Robert Meacham. Like, you know, he can give you those plays, but that's not his game. We got Deontay Hardy now, and then we got Michael Thomas, but we don't know what he's going to be. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't know what's going to happen with Alvin Kamara. Like you said, Jarvis Landry in the draft. It has to be a must. Like, they have to go offense I would go offense the first 3 rounds, like at least the first 2 rounds. And we're going to see what the New Orleans Saints do, man. And, you know, I'm going to have my guy Mike. We're going to come back and talk about it. We're going to kind of keep this going for a little couple weeks and just, you know, vibe out and talk to you guys about the New Orleans Saints, man. But this is a part of the show where I always like to, you know, give some advice, some positive feedback from my life. And I took a few months off. You know, me and Mike was talking, and I was like, yo, bro, we're going to do a podcast. And every week it fell through. So we're glad we finally got back. But I just want to talk about surrendering to the process, man. Having a good time with the process, with the development, one brick at a time, one piece at a time, and finding peace with those missing, when you feel like you're you know, stressed or it's becoming hard, just finding peace in the grind, in the process. And me and him, we talk all the time about life and everything like that. And look at us now, we're back producing episodes. So hopefully the Saints surrender to the process and really look into the draft for some wide receivers. Hopefully they really do their homework with free agency, because it is some guys available. And I'm actually hearing talks about Brandon Cooks. Don't know if that's possible, but that would be very nice. Now that now that Sean Payton is not in the building, he might be looking to come back. So we never know, but we're going to keep you updated. We're going to talk more Saints football. It's only March. We got a lot of offseason to go, but thank you guys for joining in. Thanks, Rudy. Elite Goods, my guy Wisely. Thank you guys for tuning in and commenting. Everybody else, thank you for watching. Peace.